Hello everyone, welcome back. I'm a bit sad that you can't see it because it would have been such a vibe, but behind me I have my little Christmas lights on twinkling, but it is 2 p.m. in the afternoon at the moment, so I don't know what I was thinking, but I thought you'd get a nice glowy background, but obviously not. Give it an hour or two when it goes dark and it'll be much more apparent, but I was just in the flow now, thought I would hit record, and this episode is an interview, but it was actually written up by AI, ChatGPT. I saw someone else do this and I was like, that's a really cool idea. I've had my podcast editor, Kira, on the show before and she interviewed me. I think it was maybe for the 200th episode, but this time we're having ChatGPT. Well, it's all the rage these days, and it came up with some pretty good questions. So we will see how many I get through today. But before we do, as always, thank you so much for tuning in. If this is your first episode, if you've listened to every single one, if you've hopped on along the way, I appreciate you being here. I would love to connect with you. Send me a message if you're listening or screenshot, share on your stories. I would love to connect with you. And if you can just spare 10 seconds, I'm sure it's all that it takes to leave a rating and review if you haven't already. It makes the world of a difference for me showing up every week doing these episodes for free. It costs for you, it costs me money, and obviously time every single week. There's hundreds of hours, probably thousands of hours at this point of content out there. And if you leave me a rating and a review, it just shows me that someone's out there listening and appreciates it. So it'll take 2 minutes on whatever platform you're listening to. On Spotify, you can give it a star rating and I think a comment, and on Apple Podcasts, you can also leave one on there. So I would really appreciate it. But let's get into the questions. There's a bit of a range and it categorized it, but I'm just gonna go through and see what I want to answer today. So it's all about my journey and my evolution to begin with. So when you first launched the Viva Natural Health podcast, what was the mission and how has the mission evolved over the last 300 episodes? I would say when I started, it was mainly for me and just as a way for me to ask these experts and practitioners who I probably could have worked with, or I just really wanted to pick their brains. And I think, no, it would have been later than that. I was just trying to figure it out on my own. And I knew that one person would really know this answer and another person would know this, and they specialize in this area. So it was really for me to just connect with these really top names in the industry. And I'm grateful for the ones who agreed to come on the show. I think I've done pretty good with getting some great names on here. And it was for me to get answers. And obviously, I wanted to document my health journey and what I was learning. It was never a way to make money or get clients or anything because I was still working part time at that point and I didn't know how long I'd be doing this for. But over the years, it's now shifted. Even last year, there was the name change from Hormones in Harmony to Viva Natural Health Podcast. And that was just to reflect the fact that my work is a little bit more multi-dimensional now, and I don't just want to talk about hormones all the time, and I've covered all sorts of things on spirituality and breath work and parasites and mold and all of these things. So that was a bit of a change over the years. I've gone from really focusing on periods and all of that, which I still love, but with my learning personally and with clients now, I understand that health is much more than that. We talk about the nervous system and trauma and the energy body and the power of the subconscious mind. And these were things that I just was not aware of back in the day. So quite a change, quite an evolution. You've obviously seen me heal, go through different life situations. I've I've moved out of my parents' home. I was in my apartment for a few years. That's where I really did a lot of my healing. I started dating. I've been in a few different relationships and got my dog, bought my house. Like it's just been a bit of a documentation of my life as well, because I'll probably reflect back on it over time. And it's just been a really cool project for me. Question two, looking back, what were the biggest points in your own healing journey that shaped the work that you do today? For me, learning about the power of lab testing And functional lab testing and also functional lab ranges really opened my eyes to the fact that the conventional medical system, the NHS, is pretty limited in what it can offer. So I'd gone from being told everything's fine or this is normal, we can't do this test, to actually you can if you pay for it and you go elsewhere. There are always answers, and it's a bit of a non-conventional route at the moment, and it's not very obvious that you can do this, but when you start to get into the holistic and naturopathic world, you learn about the functional lab tests and stool testing and mineral testing and testing for mold. Like learning about mold and environmental toxins just changed the game for me, because that was holding me back for so long. And then since then, going deeper into this world of mind-body healing, psychoneuroimmunology as it's called, and the power of your beliefs, the placebo effect, and how the mind can heal the body. Those have been some big shifts, because when I first learned about mold, I was very scared of it, and I was just focusing on that too much, and I kind of forgot about everything else that led to the decline in my health. The fact that I've been on birth control and dieting and over-exercising and severely depleted and all of these things. I was like, it was all mold, the whole thing, and it ruined my life. But on reflection now, that I'm years out of it and I've healed, that mindset was very harmful, just as much as the mold can be. And I really focus on the mindset now in different areas of my life, because I feel like whatever you believe is what is going to manifest. So if I just believe that the world is out to get me, the world is a toxic place, I'll never heal, then I'd probably be stuck where I was. But I had to flip that. I had to be and do something different in order to have a different experience. And those lessons, as hard as they were at the time, have now meant that in other areas of my life, I have these tools and techniques that can help me with limitations in other areas. Question number 3. How have you personally changed as a practitioner, woman, and host since episode 1? I think in every single way possible. When I started the podcast back in 2017, 2018, that was quite like a low point in my health journey. I was just fresh out of college, so I thought I knew a lot, and then you realize a few years in, like you've got a qualification, but there's so much more that you need to learn, and it's very different doing something in college and in a clinical setting versus in real life and what actually works. And just getting experience and learning from your clients makes a big difference too. So as a person, I've been able to physically heal. I've gone from being 20 kilograms overweight, chronically inflamed, sensitive to pretty much everything that I ate, really bad skin. I've been on the pill, I've come off the pill, I've not had periods, I've regained my cycles and cleared my skin and done all of these things, healed my gut after 50 million attempts, but I finally figured it out. So on a physical level, night and day difference. On an emotional, energetic identity level, very, very different as well. I was very anxious and uncomfortable and awkward, and like I said at the start, I didn't like being the center of attention. Public speaking was my worst nightmare. Also, I thought, because when I then look back to my childhood, I was a bit of a show-off. I was a bit of an attention seeker. I loved to perform. I was never really good at it, but I loved to do drama and singing and dancing. And then just around that time of my early 20s is when all of that kind of went away. And it was like a result of my physical health being bad, because you're not going to feel super confident and outgoing when your skin's a mess and your hair's falling out and you don't feel comfortable in your skin. So it's taken my physical healing and also a lot of mental work to be able to overcome that. I've hosted events in person. I've done tons of talks and presentations at my chiropractor's office and at festivals and at workshops. I have run group programs. I've helped hundreds of people through my one-to-one coaching. And I'm just really proud of those changes and the woman that I've become. And I'm constantly going to be growing and learning. And there's probably still areas that I want to improve on. But yeah, I'm very grateful for where I'm at and feel like a very different person, but I still hold that previous version of me in my heart. And I empathize with her, and I just wish I could give her a hug and tell her it's all going to be okay. I feel like I'm going to get emotional on this episode. I'm trying not to. Um, if you could go back and give your younger self one message when starting this podcast, what would it be? Just said it, but I'm proud of you. You've got this. It's all going to work out even better than you could have ever imagined. Just keep going, keep putting one foot in front of the other. I'm talking more on the health wise and just general life as opposed to podcasts because I just like keep going. It's really fun. You're going to be still going in 2025. Can you believe it? But on a personal level, I tell her all of these things to just trust the process, just to keep going, be persistent, just try and enjoy and embrace where you're at instead of constantly jumping to the next thing. And that all your dreams and desires will come to fruition. And yeah, will be even better than you could have ever imagined. And then there's a section now, questions more on health, healing, and the body. What do you believe now about healing that you didn't believe 5 to 10 years ago? I would say it's along the lines of the mind-body healing thing. I think if someone would have told me 10 years ago, when I was, how old would I have been? 21, the meditation and the mind could heal the body. I'm not sure. I think there might have been a deep part of me that knew that that was truth, but I just couldn't believe that it would be that simple. And there is more at play, and there might be some diet changes and things that can help, but I was just focused more on the physical and the doing and what's the next product and less on what are these blockages and these barriers and these triggers that are coming up in my life that I need to work through because I was such a control freak. I just was very in my masculine and logical brain. And if I would have tuned in more to my intuition and gone inward a lot more at that point, it could have sped up the process. And I'm never going to know because we can't go back in time now. But I'm sure that that's what would have happened. But everything always works out in divine timing. So I don't regret, even though it was a good 10 years of my life struggling with my health almost, some symptoms. It was totally worth it. What's the most powerful healing lesson your clients have taught you? I would say the most powerful healing lesson my clients have taught me is that everyone is very different, but also quite similar. Like we all just want to be loved and accepted. We all need nourishment. We all need a feeling of safety and healthy gut microbiomes and all of that. But I could have two people with the same set of symptoms, acne and bloating, but their lives and the way that they live and how they've got to that point is going to be very different. So the treatment and the plan is also going to have to reflect that. I can't just give a cookie cutter protocol to everyone. I need to know if they have children, have they got other health issues going on at the same time that mean that some things might not be a good fit or could work better. So everyone is different. And those who believe in the process and those who believe that they're going to heal and trust me and themselves in the process often have the best results. It's the ones who I go on an enrollment call with or I have a first session with and they're very negative and maybe they have been burned by other practitioners and they've just been on their journey for a long time, but they're in a very negative, pessimistic state. They're feeling a bit hopeless and helpless and desperate. They will often struggle more. And that is another reason why mindset work is key, because if we can start by even prioritizing that, getting them to believe in the power of the self-healing body, because that's what the body is designed to do, that is going to make more of a difference than putting them on this strict diet or 20 different supplement protocols. I just want to check, are you addressing the healing foundations? Not sure what I mean. Well, these are the important factors that I believe that you need to address in order to be in optimal health and overcome your stubborn health issues and symptoms, whether that's chronic digestive issues, acne, hair loss, period problems, weight gain, anxiety, fatigue. I could go on. Because I want as many of you as possible to have this life-changing information, I've bundled together 6 of my juiciest and info-packed masterclasses priced at just £111. Not only are you getting these recordings, which are between 60 and 90 minutes long each, on the following subjects: the power of the subconscious mind, stress, trauma, and the nervous system, supporting your female menstrual cycle, mastering your metabolism, optimizing sleep, gut health and detox. You're also going to receive my healthy groceries shopping list and my favorite non-toxic products guide, which are both usually reserved for my one-to-one clients. Whether you're brand new to the holistic healing world or you've been trying to work on things for a while but feel stuck, I can guarantee there's something within this content that will help you to understand your next steps and what you're missing. Sometimes it's something so foundational that's being overlooked. Get instant access to the Foundations bundle today for just £111 by clicking the link in the episode show notes, and I can't wait to hear about what you've learned. Grab your pen and paper to make notes and get started today. Why do you think more people than ever are struggling with chronic symptoms despite having more information available? Probably just the state of the world and all of the chemicals and pollutants and 5G and fast-paced lifestyle and EMFs that we're being exposed to. That has to be contributing. The quality of the food has gone down. The nutrition in an orange these days is probably equivalent to 10 to 15. Well, to get the nutrients of one orange back in the day, you'll probably have to eat 10 to 15 oranges now, is what I'm trying to say. Everything's just very fast paced. They need to grow the crops and the bread and the food really quickly. Plants are picked before they're ripe, and food's being shipped halfway across the world. People aren't living in communities anymore. We aren't outside as much as we should be. We're behind screens too much. We're disconnected. People are feeling the stress of not following their purpose, maybe not being connected to the family. Generational trauma can be passed down. There's so many different things. So yes, there's more information than ever, but chronic disease is on the rise. It has to be something in the food. It has to be the way that we're living. But yeah, we need to look at it holistically. If you could shout one message about true healing from the rooftops, what would it be? That healing requires more than just a healthy diet. You have to look at everything. You have to look at your emotions, your environment, your relationships. Are you even absorbing and digesting the healthy food that you're eating? Has your energy system got a blockage in there? Like, I know I'd be thinking that it sounds crazy if I listened to this 10 years ago, but it's true. Generational trauma. How were you born? Were you born via C-section and it was a really traumatic emergency experience and you've never processed that? Did your grandparents go through war and famine? Have you been abused as a child? Like, there's so many different things. And I believe that the body can heal from pretty much anything, given the right environment. So as long as the blockages and the barriers have been removed and the body has what it needs to function optimally, the nutrients and the vitamins and the minerals and the air quality, it can heal. So never give up hope. Trust that your body is designed to do this. There might be ups and downs, but it is totally possible. Next couple of questions are on mindset and subconscious work. How has subconscious work transformed your life the most? I got really into it probably 2021, 22, after I was starting to feel physically better from moving out of mold. And I've always loved inspirational quotes and Tony Robbins books, but I kind of fell off that for a while when I was very focused on the physical body. And even at the college that I studied at, the College of Naturopathic Medicine, we didn't talk about the power of your mind and how your subconscious actually governs 95% of your behaviors and daily thoughts and actions. So when I started to learn that and just dive deeper into the personal development world, when I did my certification with Yes Supply in 2023, that's all about hypnosis, EFT tapping, life coaching, NLP techniques. It just really opened my eyes to this world that I kind of knew about but hadn't dove into enough. And when I started to apply some of the techniques with myself first and then with clients, because as you go through the course like that, you're also practicing and learning for yourself. And I thought I was pretty good. I've done bits of therapy before. I always say I had a really good childhood. Nothing major happened. Parents are still together, no abuse or anything. And I still had things that we need to work on because your parents are going to mess you up in some ways, or just the way that you perceive certain things growing up. Everyone is going to have some degree of trauma. It could just be this little T trauma, it's called. It doesn't have to be the big T trauma that we typically think of first. I had to work a lot on my self-love and self-acceptance. I always had this thing, which was heightened even more with my health issues, that I was like different and weird. I think because of my height, just being tall as a girl in school, like I was always towering above everyone. I'm 5'11" now, so I was always tall as a child. And also my name, just having a name like Vivian, is just a bit unusual. And I had a bit of a complex about that for a while. And now I love my name and I love my height. So it just shows how that can completely flip. But as a child, if you think that you're weird and different, and then you go through in your late teens, early 20s, a ton of health issues that mean you go from being lean and having clear skin and being attractive to face full of acne, hair falling out, you gaining and losing weight, you not seeing your friends anymore. That is quite a lot in these pivotal years when also you see your friends and people that you know going off to university and getting into relationships, and I was just stuck at home all the time, and I was always really desperate for a relationship, but I was also very fearful of it, just the way that I was raised as well. It was like you can't have a boyfriend when you're at school and it's not appropriate, and we didn't really talk about sex or anything like that at home. So I had this whole block around it, but I also really deeply wanted to be in a relationship, which is completely normal. And then when the health stuff started, I was like, who's going to want to go out with me? And am I always going to be like this? And then just the more that the years passed, I'd never had a boyfriend, I'd never been in a relationship. It just became this bigger thing where I was putting it on a pedestal. And eventually did get into a relationship. And I, yeah, dated a few people. I'm now with a partner who's my absolute dream guy, like perfect match for me. Love him so much, and it's meant to be. Like he's my person, 100%. And I only met him a few months ago. I was in a different relationship in January. I broke up with my ex in January of 2025 because that was just something else that I felt I had outgrew and it was no longer in alignment for me, and just staying in that relationship just didn't feel like it was a good thing anymore. And that was obviously a challenge, but then I found myself seeking the next relationship. And I really was resisting being on my own. And I still had that thought from back in my early 20s, being single, being on your own is bad. And there must be something wrong with you. So when I would go on dates and things, and I started dating pretty quickly after that relationship because I'd already processed and mourned it before I made the decision to end things. But when there were like a few, and I could talk more about this in maybe another episode if you're interested, but there were a few guys before I met my current partner, and I kind of liked them, and everyone seemed to be getting better and better. And then the final two before I met Andrew, my current partner. I kind of like them. When I reflect on it now, it's like, no, that they definitely wouldn't have been the right person for me. But I was like, yeah, they're good. Each one would like have more traits and things that I liked. But then we went on a few dates and they both didn't want to go on further dates. One of them just completely ghosted after arranging a date, and then they just never confirmed, so obviously didn't turn up. And the other one was dating someone else. And for a few minutes, I was like a bit sad, and like, what's wrong with me? And getting back into that mindset again. And then I just like fully accepted it. I was like, okay, I appreciate this person telling me and being open, and obviously not my person. I've been meeting some decent people, so the next person is going to be decent as well. It'll happen when it happens. I also went on this retreat with Mindspo in, when was that, May? That was all about feminine energy, and it's the Empress retreat, so all about self-love, self-acceptance. And on that, I processed deeper, and I started to pick up on these patterns and how it was mimicking and reminding me of that phase in my early 20s where I was single and see everyone else in relationships, and it was just heightened by the fact that I'm now in my 30s and feeling the societal pressure. But I processed all of that, and I got to a place of deep self-love, and I thought, I'm good on my own. The universe supports me. Anything extra than that is a bonus. I don't need anyone. I'm good on my own. And I stayed on the apps, but before I was like swiping and like on them quite a bit. Whereas once I got home, I still had my profile up, but I was no longer scrolling. I would wait for someone to like my profile and send me a message, and then I would respond to that if I liked them. It was literally a few weeks after I got back from this trip, got back on the app. I deleted it while I was away, got back on the app a few weeks after I returned home. And that's when Andrew, my partner, sent me a message. And there was no way I could have met him sooner, because in May, when I was on this retreat, he was just coming back to England after living in Canada for 14 years. So if he was my person, there was no way I was going to meet him, because he hadn't even been on the same continent as me. So that is just another example of divine timing. I just love our story. I should probably tell more, because there's so many other synchronicities, and it's just, yeah, my favorite thing in life at the moment. But what was I even talking about? Oh yeah, I had to work on my self-acceptance, self-belief, and I've worked on it slowly over the years, and my confidence has grown, just even as a practitioner and with being a business owner. But definitely with relationships and things, I've kind of only really cracked that this year. And the aftermath and the results of doing that have just been absolutely insane. I just cannot wait to update you on everything that has been happening, because it's just been a crazy few months, but all in the best way. So self-love, self-acceptance, being okay with being weird and different and actually embracing it, believing that my body can heal and that my mind is very powerful, and what I tell myself either out loud or in my head, or what I say, my word is, my tongue is powerful, my word is magic, and I really want to be cautious of what I say, or what I think, because I know that can become my reality. So I just really want to be conscious moving forward to only speak into existence what I want, because there's been times I've just said something just random and it's happened. I'm like, oh my God, I'm a witch, I'm powerful. Behind the scenes of your business, why do you think your work resonates so strongly with people all over the world? I think because I am authentic, and I know that everyone's different. I've also been there and lived it, and I've also got quite a bit of experience now. I would hope you agree with that. How has healing impacted the way that you show up in relationships and family? I've just mentioned the relationship piece. The way that I show up now is that a relationship is just a bonus, and it's not what I need to be happy. I can be happy on my own. And I don't need someone, but I want someone in my life. And then with family, I think they've just been really happy to see me heal and be doing such and sharing such impactful work and living my purpose and my passion after all of those years of struggling with my health. And just with the knowledge that I have now, I do often help my family members, and they're probably healthier as a result. I don't ram it down their throats, but I have really helped my mum, for example, with her thyroid condition and her hormones and everything. So yeah, she's very grateful for that too. What are you most grateful for right now in this season of life? Definitely my relationship, and just being proud of myself and reflecting to where I've come to today. Just it's the end of the year, it's the end of 2025. It's been a major year, like lots and lots of changes, life-changing things have happened. And yeah, I'm just feeling very reflective. And I told you it was going to go dark. If you're watching on YouTube, it's now pretty dark and my lights are sparkling in the background, so I love that. I'm grateful for that right now. What's one lifestyle habit that's completely changed your well-being? I have so many. Going gluten-free, eating blood sugar balancing meals with plenty of protein. Protein is the staple of my diet. Not over exercising, finding exercise that works for me. Walking, strength training, building muscle is major, and Pilates. Love that trio, that combination. Learning how to process my emotions and not let energy and these emotions stagnate and get stuck in my body because that contributes to disease. So breath work, EFT tapping, hypnosis have been pivotal in my journey and incorporating those. I don't do breath work as much anymore, but I do check in with my body and try to meditate daily as well. I think last question for now. What are you most proud of when you look at everything that you've created? I think it's just when I see and get client testimonials, and also when I've done my 2 events over the past couple of years and meeting some clients who I've only ever worked with virtually. They've traveled. I've had a client travel from Slovenia. I've had them travel from Devon and London to my Manchester event, and I just so appreciate that. They've bought me little gifts. They've written me cards and just I know that they're grateful, but when you see them in person or when they message you years after you work with them and just tell you how much their life transformed because they've had a healthy pregnancy and they've met the love of their life and they're so happy, and they then get to spread that knowledge and wisdom too. It just makes me so happy. And that is why I do this work, because it started with me healing myself. But when you know this stuff, it's very hard to keep it in. You just want to tell everyone. You can't force people to change, unfortunately. So it can feel frustrating when you know something could really help someone. But trust me, you can lead a horse to water, but you cannot force it to drink. So just be the star yourself, the guiding light. Focus on yourself and optimizing your health as much as possible. And then you'll find that people start asking. And when they come to you for advice, which they inevitably will, you are there, you are open, and you are ready to share. You don't want it to be that they're scared of asking you then because you're being all weird about it. Like, help people, be kind to people, give to others. Especially when you're struggling with your own health and your own things, it's common to go too inward focused. Start sharing. That's what also helped me on my journey, is just talking about it and sharing and being vulnerable. You connect with people a lot more by doing that. So I'm just grateful for everything. Like I need a good cry after this, but a big thank you all so much again. If you're still listening to this, if you've been here from episode 1, you've been here just this week, your first episode is this one. Hi, welcome. I hope to see you again. Or if you've picked up somewhere along the way, I just really appreciate it. And I just wish you health and happiness. We do still have a few more weeks left of the year. There might be a little bit of a break over Christmas with the podcast, but I'm not planning on stopping anytime soon. And actually, in December, there's some really, really exciting news and changes coming. So be sure to subscribe and do not miss those episodes because you're going to want to hear all that is going on. And yeah, hopefully see you at the next episode.